Welcome to PAATH History YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about Palaeolithic society. Paleolithic remains offer us a glimpse into the social organization of early humans. These remains have often to be correlated with the experience of contemporary hunter-gatherers. In the lower Paleolithic, hominids lived in very small groups. The mother-child relationship was the nucleus around which social groups were formed. Primatology, which is the study of primate behavior, has of late become an independent discipline in its own right. It has helped us to reconstruct the social organization of early humans. Anthropoids are generally very social in their behavior. They live in groups of some size. There are well-defined relationships in these groups. This would have been true for the earliest humans as well. The need to carefully look after infants for a length of time reinforced cooperation among them. Mobility was an important factor in the adaptive strategy of the Paleolithic. Groups would constantly move from place to place in search of food. They, however, remained within a familiar environment. Plant gathering was an individual activity. It was time-consuming as well. All grown-up members of the group had to engage in this activity. Given the time, labor, and level of technology involved, it was not possible for one person to gather food for another. Scavenging too was more of an individual activity. With the Acheulean and other Homo erectus cultures, social groups became somewhat larger. These groups are referred to as bands and usually comprised 20 to 25 individuals. The core of the band was based on kinship ties, that is, people having close blood relationship. There were some restrictions on mating within this group. Hunting required more cooperation. Such cooperation was facilitated by improved capacity for communication. The Mousterians were accomplished hunters of big animals. These large animals could be hunted more efficiently if this was done collectively. Tracking the animals, preparing traps for the animals, and killing them called for enhanced cooperation. Such cooperation also provided opportunities for learning tool-making techniques and standardization of the techniques. As a particular group grew in size, subgroups would branch off so that the resources of an area were not overburdened. This is reflected in the large-scale migrations of hominid population from the Homo erectus onwards. By the Middle Paleolithic, bands were no longer living in total isolation. Loose links were established with other bands who simultaneously exploited a large area. The bands as a whole did not move from place to place every few days, but relied on a more elaborate strategy. The bands would move over a large territory in a seasonal cycle. During each seasonal movement, they would select an appropriate site as their home base. From this home base, small groups would venture forth in different directions for the purpose of hunting animals. This could necessitate absence of several days from the home base. This arrangement involved division of labor within the bands. Males usually went out for hunting. The women stayed close to the home base, tending the children and gathering plants for food. They also hunted small game that was available near the home base. This was just a functional division of labor and should not be taken to indicate male prowess at hunting. It certainly did not imply that males had superior abilities for hunting or that hunting was a superior activity as compared to plant gathering. It was not like that. All these concepts arose much later with the establishment of inequality in society. With the emergence of Homo sapiens sapiens and the transition to the Upper Paleolithic, communities based on a network of a large number of bands were formed. These communities contained several bands which lived in a common ecological zone and procured their food in similar ways. But coming together, they engaged in hunting jointly. They exchanged objects and even sometimes mating partners. These bands congregated on certain occasions for performing rituals. The rituals, which reflect their shared beliefs, gave rise to the cave paintings of this period. Ornaments indicated group identity. Rituals and the growth of relationships based on exchange point towards the emergence of a more complex social organization. Language played a crucial role in this development, as Philip Lieberman has shown. Even Neanderthals lacked language skills possessed by Homo sapiens sapiens. The Neanderthal vocal tract is closer to that of the chimpanzee. Early Homo sapiens did communicate more efficiently than apes or even Australopithecus and could store a much larger amount of information, but they might not have been able to use language in the same way as we do. Once this ability was acquired, it created possibilities for wider and more intensive communication. Language helped to establish and maintain links with several bands. Homo sapiens sapiens, moving in large groups, formed through a network of mutual cooperation, whose members communicated with great ease, would have been deadly for other Homo sapiens populations. Other Homo sapiens lived in smaller groups and did not communicate so efficiently. Within a short space of time, they succumbed to the pressure of modern humans and soon became extinct. Throughout the Paleolithic period, one feature of social organization remained constant. Within the bands and even within larger groups, there was collective access to tools and food. Plant foods were usually individually collected and consumed. Meat was shared. This sharing could involve an elaborate ritual, especially in the Upper Paleolithic. In this period, sharing should not be confused with gifting or voluntary sharing of food by individuals with other members of the group. There simply was no concept of individual control, since access to killed animals and as well as to tools was collective. These concepts, the concept of individual control, began to undergo changes only with the beginnings of food production. So, this was the structure of the society, and this is the end of this discussion. Subscribe our YouTube channel and follow our official Facebook page.